All right, let's talk about something that can literally make or break a company today. I'm talking about the connection between its business goals and its technology. We're going to explore why getting the strategic alignment right isn't just a good idea, it's pretty much the ultimate key to success. Let's get into it. So let me just ask you this right out of the gate. Think about where you work. Is your technology a real partner? Pushing the company forward, opening up new doors? Or is it, well, a problem? A clunky, expensive thing that just seems to slow everything down? Your answer to that question really gets to the heart of what we're unpacking here. You see this? This is the goal. For way too long, the old way of thinking was to just stick the IT department in some back office and see them as a cost center. Just a bill you have to pay to keep the lights on. But that's not how it works anymore. In today's world, success is all about how deeply and how well these two worlds are connected. It's a whole new ballgame. So, how does a company actually make that shift from the old way to the new game? Well, it's a journey, an evolution, really. And we can break it down into four distinct levels. Let's walk through how IT's role can transform from a simple utility into an absolute strategic powerhouse. Here they are, the four levels of IT maturity. Where a company sits on this scale tells you almost everything you need to know about how much value it's really getting from its tech. Honestly, the difference between a good company and a great one often boils down to where they are on this spectrum. So let's start at the beginning. At level 1, the most basic level, IT is seen purely as a cost factor. It's a necessary evil, right? You need it for things like running payroll or for your HR software, but nobody's thinking about it as a way to get ahead of the competition. It's just a line item on the budget. Now, moving up to level 2, you start to see a real shift in mindset. Here, IT isn't just a cost anymore. It's seen as an asset. Companies at this stage are using technology to make their main business operations run better, faster, and smoother. Think of a manufacturing plant using tech to improve its assembly line. That's IT as an asset. Okay, level 3 is where things get really interesting. This is where the big transformation happens. IT becomes a true business partner. They have a seat at the big table. Instead of just getting told what to do, the IT folks are actively helping to shape how the company is going to meet its biggest goals. And that brings us to the top, level 4. Here, IT is more than just a partner. It's what we call a strategic enabler. Technology is the engine of the business. It's so baked into the company's DNA that it's driving all the innovation and even creating brand new products and services out of thin air. I mean, just look at these examples, you know them well. For a company like Airbnb or Uber, you can't even separate the tech from the business, the platform, the app, the data network. That is the entire company. This is the ultimate form of strategic alignment, where IT makes a business model possible that literally could not have existed without it. So how do you make that jump? How do you go from being a simple cost center all the way up to a strategic enabler? Well, it definitely doesn't happen by accident. It takes a master plan, a blueprint that lines up every single part of the business with its technology. And that blueprint has a name: enterprise architecture. Okay, I know that definition sounds a bit dense and technical, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. Enterprise architecture is just the set of rules and models a company uses to make sure everything, the people, the processes, the tech, is all pulling in the same direction, working toward the same goals. It's the glue that holds it all together. The best way I've heard it explained is this. Think of it like the master blueprint for a house. The company's overall strategy, that's the architect's grand vision for the house. The business architecture, that's the floor plan, where the rooms go, how they connect. And the IT architecture, that's the plumbing and electricity. Absolutely essential stuff that makes the whole house actually work. It all has to fit together perfectly. And in today's world, the job of an IT department is just getting bigger and bigger. It's not about fixing printers anymore, not by a long shot. It's about figuring out how to drive real long-term business success. And that means the IT strategy can't be cooked up in a silo. It has to be perfectly in sync with what the rest of the company is trying to achieve. So let's look a little closer at this blueprint. At its heart, enterprise architecture really stands on two main pillars. You have business architecture and you have IT architecture. Understanding how these two work together is the absolute key to making this all happen. And this makes it so beautifully simple. The business architecture is the what. What do we do? What are our goals? What are our processes? And the IT architecture is the how. How does our technology make all of that stuff possible? You see, they're two sides of the exact same coin. So, on one side, you have the business architecture. That's the big picture strategy. The org charts, the daily workflows, that's the what. And on the other side, you have the IT architecture. All the systems, the software, the data, the servers. That's the how that brings that business vision to life. For this to work, these two sides have to be talking to each other constantly. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But why does any of this actually matter to you in your job day to day? This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's talk about the practical payoff for your career. Look at this. It doesn't matter what your title is. If you're a business person, you've got to understand that IT is a core part of strategy now. If you're a tech specialist, your job is to be that bridge between the technology and the business goals. And if you're a lawyer, whoa, all this digitalization is creating a whole new legal world you have to navigate. When business and IT are aligned, everybody wins and is empowered to do their best work. And that brings us right to our final thought. Every business out there has a strategy, right? A plan for where it's headed. But the real question, the one I want to leave you with, is this. Does your technology have a strategy too? And more importantly, are they the same one? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.